Hi, I'm Jane Whitehead, Head of Student Funding at Coventry University. I've been asked to tell you a little bit about student funding. Before you come to university, it's very important to make sure that you're going to have all the funding that you're entitled to in place for when you start. This means applying early, and normally the cycle opens with the Student Loans Company about February in the year before you're going to start your studies. So it's always worthwhile looking out for that and getting your application in very early. And this applies to tuition fee loans, maintenance loans, and of course any disability students allowance that you might want to claim. Every student is entitled to apply for a tuition fee loan if it's their first degree. If they've studied before, they will need to take advice. But even when we go into 2012 with the higher fees, every student starting a new undergraduate degree can ask for a tuition fee loan from the Student Loans Company. In addition, you can ask for a maintenance grant or a maintenance loan, sometimes referred to as a loan and grant for living costs. And don't forget that a tuition fee loan is non-means tested, so it doesn't matter what income you've got, you'll be able to get one to cover your tuition fees. Also from the Student Loans Company, you can ask for a grant towards living costs and also a loan towards living costs. Now these used to be referred to as maintenance grant and maintenance loan. A maintenance grant in full is any student is eligible for it if their household income is below £25,000 a year, and you don't have to repay this grant. If your income is above that, up to around £43,000, you will have a partial maintenance loan. So the higher your income, up to £43,000, the less grant that you will get. A maintenance loan, the largest part of this is non-means tested, so about 70% any student can apply for. But if you want the other 30%, you will have to submit your income details and be assessed on your income as you would for maintenance grant. Students who have a disability or learning needs can apply for a disabled students allowance, and this is assessed at an assessment centre and can range from note takers or extra PC allowance. It can range from adapting a building or a wheelchair, anything like that you might have a need for. The Disabled Students Allowance can help you towards that, so it's really worth applying. In addition, for students who have some severe needs, we have a fund from the government which every university receives called the Access to Learning Fund. This is designed not to cover tuition fees but to help with everyday living costs that some students may find more burdensome than others. It's quite strictly means tested and offsets income against any allowed expenditure that you would be expected to have as a student, and see if a shortfall arises, in which case you could get a grant. So it's well worthwhile finding out about the Access to Learning Fund and seeing if you fall into one of the priority groups. Priority groups at the moment are lone parents, mature families with children, and students with a disability, and also final year students who often have less student support and so can get some help from the fund. Every year, Student Funding produces a lovely booklet. This is the one for 2011, and in it you'll find all the information any student would need, ranging from what the costs are in fees and accommodation, right the way through to some budgeting advice and the funding you can get. And there's a lovely table here which gives you a quick guide to all the funding that you should investigate. We also then go on to tell you a lot more about the various types of funding, tuition fees and the loans. Also a little bit about explaining how you would repay your loan once you've finished your studies. The bursaries and scholarships are also in there, so try and pick up a copy of that at either open days or contact Student Funding and ask for one to be sent to you. Lastly, you're all asking the question, well, how do I apply? These days all students apply direct to the student loans company, but you will find all the information you need and forms and application details on www.direct.gov.uk, which is a very informative site, and I'm sure you'll find everything you need. If you still have queries after that about studying at Coventry University and funding problems, you can always contact my team at Student Funding on 024 7615, extension 2040 or 2050. Alternatively, once you've enrolled, do come into the Student Centre and ask to speak to a Students Funding advisor. You'll find the team very helpful, and they will be able, I'm sure, to find an answer to any question that you might have.